Ironheart has come to Disney Plus, and I have to admit, these Marvel series are, I'm actually losing track of them. You know what? I've lost track of how many Marvel movies there were, but I mean, they are literally in the double digits. And as far as these Marvel series are concerned, I don't know. There's like 10 of them? I have no idea. Anyway, if you're not familiar with Ironheart, it's a character that actually first appeared in Black Panda, Wakanda Forever, a film which, honestly, I have forgotten most of. I know I did see it. I know it's on Disney Plus. I never bothered to watch it again. It was very hard for them to do a Black Panther film when they didn't have Chadwick Boseman due to his tragic passing. So, yeah, there wasn't really much they could kind of do with it. But the character of Ironheart stems right from the comics. Riri Johnson? Is that her last name? I think that is her last name. Riri is her name, and she's basically this child prodigy and very much a genius who seems to have this innate ability to work with technology in spite of her very young age, and I guess she must have had some experience growing up. I think she worked at kind of a... Now here, I mean... I don't know if the Riri of the comics and the Riri of the MCU are different, or very different in some ways. I mean, there's always going to be differences between these characters. It's never a perfect translation, and for the sake of what the MCU has become, I don't think it really can be. I've been told that this character is hated from the comics. I'm told that a character like Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man, really took off, and fans really embraced that. Riri Johnson, they've never really embraced, so I don't really think that this is really going to help. I grew up reading some of the comics of the MCU, and we're pretty familiar with like Captain America, Iron Man, Vision, Scarlet Witch, all those guys. But Riri Johnson, man, that's a very relatively new character. So the fact that the MCU is starting to incorporate all these extremely new characters shows that they are going in a certain direction. And this is going to change how the comics are being written, because, you know, they are going to start creating characters, and they're going like, they're going to start thinking very early, okay, who would play this character in the movie/TV show based out of them? So Marvel's getting a little bit too big for its britches on here, but I think we all know that there's a bit of a decline as far as Marvel's quality is concerned. But there are good things that come out every once in a while, like Thunderbolts, and I'm guessing these new Avengers movies are going to try and bring back the flavor that was sort of peaked with Infinity War and Endgame. But hey, this is a conversation that has been had before several times. Anyway, so the basic premise of Ironheart is that we see Riri Johnson at MIT. Apparently she's going there with, say, MJ and Ned from the Spider-Man things. No, seriously, we don't see them, but it seems like MIT usually shows up a lot in these Marvel movies. Anyway, so apparently Riri has been, I don't know, she just hasn't been doing good in her classes, which to me, I'm kind of going like, she should be doing really well at her classes. I think the biggest thing is her finances, and she's been, because, you know, going to MIT is probably very expensive. Don't ask me why she's not getting grants, or, by the way, didn't Tony Stark give people at MIT free tuition or something like that? I seem to remember that from one of the Avengers movies. And they even have the dean there, who's the same guy who played the dean on Community, which I think is really funny, that they actually kind of have that kind of continuity. Every once in a while, you'll see continuity things and Easter eggs like that, where you go like, oh, hey. Anyway, so basically, Riri is thrown out, so she has to go home, and she lives in kind of this Chicago low-income neighborhood. And she has her suit with her, but for some reason on the way home, the suit just kind of falls apart without really any explanation. And so she has to drag it home. And so she needs work, so she has to take sort of underground work. And there's this guy who's, I think he's just called the Hood or something like that. I think he has a name, but I forget it. And Hood has this group of guys, and they pull off high-tech heists for the sake of money. And of course, since Riri is sort of needing money, she joins along with them. And part of these heists, and the reason why the Hood really likes Riri is because he knows about the Ironheart suit, and so Riri has to repair it. And when she repairs it, she decides to create an AI for it. And the original AI was simply called Trevor, and that AI breaks down along with the suit. But she just basically uses her own mind to download onto this thing, and apparently she gets upset that it's going to take like 4 hours to do it. And when I saw this scene where she has just to hook up her mind to this thing and create AI, and I'm kind of going like, oh, AI again, and it's like, Anyway, and I don't really know. I swear this character, I mean, we saw this suit just get scrapped and turned to scrap, and like, and it fell apart on her, for crying out loud. Yet she rebuilds it in like, I don't know, one night or something like that. I mean, she must be like Rick Sanchez, for crying out loud. So, yeah, this is where you have to suspend your disbelief. And you have to suspend your disbelief when she finally gets the AI. The AI shows up as her friend Natalie. Now, it's revealed earlier that Natalie was once her best friend. They grew up together. But Natalie was shot in some sort of drive-by thing, along with Riri's stepfather. And so when Natalie is introduced, she's kind of this ghost image sort of thing that gets projected as a hologram from the Ironheart suit. And when I first saw this, I kind of went like, okay, here's the twist. Obviously, Natalie is not real. I thought Natalie was sort of this, what do you call it? Sort of like an imaginary friend of this character. This is sort of a trope that has been done so many times, like in movies like Fight Club or other things, where it's like, I sort of thought like they were kind of going for that, where you find out like, oh, Natalie was not really an AI. This was just a projection of how Riri wants to remember her, because, yeah, she and Natalie had a very good friendship and stuff like that. So, she remembers her pretty fondly. Not the case. Apparently, Natalie can be seen and is seen by her mother, by Riri's mother, like very quickly after this. So that sort of got rid of this theory that I had, which is a real shame. I actually thought that it was like, I thought I kind of had that, because I've watched shows like this where it's like, oh, I'll bet that person really is just an imaginary person, and then it turned out like, hey, that was right. And sometimes they go like, sometimes that hits you like, oh, you mean they were never real the whole time, but I saw them interact, and it's like, well, that's, I don't know. And this isn't something, I think that Natalie is, I think, very real, because Natalie can operate the suits independently, and unless there's some big plot twist coming up, because I've only seen the first 3 episodes of the show. So here's the thing about Riri, is that she doesn't really like the fact that she's working for this bad guy, but she's kind of playing the long game with this bad guy as far as like trying to take him down. And in the 3rd episode or so, they do this plot where they are going to sneak onto this, I don't know, this big high-tech billionaire's kind of greenhouse sort of thing, and so Riri sort of alters the plan by essentially sneaking in as Riri, and by having her AI Natalie doing the Ironheart suit. So Riri tries to sneak in and tries to use a laser cutter to cut a piece of Hood's hood, because Hood apparently has some sort of superpowers. He's able to sort of phase through things and appear and disappear at will. But Hood apparently has some sort of, there might be some magic involved, because he has some strange tattoos. And at one point in time, we see the tattoos just here, like kind of like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Then they're just spread out all over his dang body in another scene. You see like these weird black things take a hold of him. So there's something going on there, but we're not really sure what. If the Hood does have some sort of comic book origins, I don't really know about it. So maybe there could be something going on there. I'm not really certain what direction they're taking this character. This is a character that I wouldn't be surprised showed up in the Doomsday / Secret Wars thing that's coming on. But I think that maybe Marvel's kind of trying the waters about this thing, because I'm not really certain. I mean, if this character wasn't very popular in the comic book, why in the world does she have her own series? Who knows? But I don't want to diss this character, because I really think that there is a deeper character here, and I think there is potential here. So I will keep watching this show, and who knows, maybe it'll get better. But for now,